America, we have a problem. I'm Michael Fjetland. I was a 9/11 terrorism analyst that predicted the first 9/11 when I see a foreign threat coming to the U.S. Now today, things have changed and we have a domestic threat that is a bigger concern than anything Al-Qaida, ISIS, or any of those guys ever posed to the United States of America. January 6, 2021 was the official wake-up call for domestic terrorism by Americans unwilling to accept the ballot rather than the bullet as a way of making change. They actually showed up to the Capitol with a plan to break in. They were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," because Trump had tweeted he was unhappy with Pence for not just throwing out the ballots like he thought, hey, Putin does that, why can't we, huh? Doesn't work that way over here. Trump could never understand that, and yet ignited his followers with lie after lie that he had won the election when he'd lost, and to the point where they're now convinced it was all rigged, even though the only person that rigged anything was Trump with Putin in 2016, who kind of got together and shared polling data so the Russians could put Facebook ads for Trump. And lo and behold, he won to become the useful idiot for Putin, because Putin knew that Trump could do far more damage to us internally than Putin could ever accomplish externally. And let me tell you, it has worked like, charm. We're now $8 trillion more in debt. We're basically a bankrupt company with a global pandemic, the worst COVID response in the world. And we got now people believing that it's okay to show up with guns to U.S. Capitol with pipe bombs that were found there and literally break into the place, threaten the legislators, the Congress people there, and carry on like, hey, no big deal, I'm just ripping off stuff. We hit a cop on the head with a fire extinguisher, killed him, and caused so many millions in damages, not only to the property, but to our global reputation as being a calm, peaceful democracy where things just work. Now it looks like these domestic terrorists are going to approach all 50 state capitals this coming January 17th through the inauguration and the Capitol to try to do their thing armed rather than unarmed as protesters. Trump has unleashed this Pandora's box of horror with his constant lies and his calls for violence, which prompted the January 6th thing. It wasn't just all that one day. He had been doing this for months about how it was rigged and how they, cheated, couldn't prove a darn thing. 50 some odd cases, even Trump judges threw them out because there was no proof. You don't just get to say something and suddenly it's real unless you prove it. That's the way the court of law system works. Again, this is not Russia and China where it's all rigged. So basically now we're facing armed insurrection in America, not only at the Capitol, but our state legislatures. This all happened, prelude to this, back April 30th, as you may have forgotten already, that armed men stormed into the Michigan state capitol and were prancing around on the balcony with their weapons while the legislators down below tried to do their work. Can you imagine with a gun hanging over you, you're trying to do your work, right? That's not the way America works, folks. And these guys plan to do it again. And so we're going to have to get the FBI involved, and Americans, if you see something, say something, because, hey, it's not Al-Qaida or ISIS anymore that you need to worry about. It's not the brown people doing this, it's the white people who apparently have no education to believe all the lies and definitely no common sense. If you really think, QAnon has got anything other than just made up crazy batshit stuff, you really haven't been, you need to go back on your meds, please, because you're really, not in the real world like the rest of us are supposed to be. So America, heads up. This terrorism analyst saw 9/11. Yeah, I didn't expect this to be us attacking us. Well, that's going on, and we can't let it continue. We debate by talking about things. We don't debate with a gun in our hand. We don't definitely debate with gunshots, settling things, hanging the vice president because you don't like what he did for the president, who doesn't really give a shit about any of us other than himself. Okay, so let's start pulling back, getting off the violence. Trump deserves to be convicted. If he doesn't ever show remorse for his actions, he definitely should never hold office again. Even if he comes out and says, I'm sorry now, it's too late. We've had 4 years of him inciting violence and loving on dictators and the whole nasty, giving away our trade secrets to his buddy Putin, to his buddy MBS, the Saudi guy that cut a journalist up with a bone saw, and Trump had no problem with any of that. America, we're better than that. Thank God Joe Biden is coming in to office, but let's hope that the rhetoric and the armed stuff goes away, and if they don't, they need to be locked up and the key thrown away, because that is not America. That is not democracy. That's not how we do things. I'm Michael Fjetland. Stay tuned. This ain't over yet.